Back here on First Things First, Undisputed is coming up right after our show, 9:30 sharp. Jenny Taft, good morning to you. What's on the docket today?
Good morning, Jenna. Always nice to catch up with you guys. Coming up on Undisputed, Dallas got off to a slow start, but is everyone now underrating the Cowboys? And did Tom Brady really admit he's not as good as Aaron Rodgers? This one's going to be interesting. Plus, Rod Woodson and Joel Klatt are in studio with us. Undisputed coming up next. Jenna, back to you.
All right, Jenny, thank you. We look forward to that. Now, time for Say What? On Monday, John Gruden coached his first game since 2008. The Raiders were tied at halftime, but then were outscored 23-0 in the second half. Gruden has a theory as to why. Say what?
Derek said that the loss felt different with you as his coach. What was that conversation post-game like with him?
Losses all feel painful, especially Monday night losses when you have to get up and get ready for another team like Denver. But put a lot into it. We put a lot of time into this. I thought he was on his way in the first half. He's 20 for 24, I read, doing some really good things. I heard a skunk got loose in our tunnel. I think that's what screwed us up a little bit.
Jokes on jokes on jokes?
I mean, that was a Jenna Wolf special.
Okay.
Right there. No.
Literally was minding my own business, and I got thrown under the bus.
I'm just going to tell you something. I played in Oakland, and if you play at night in Oakland, the parking lot, it smells something like skunk, but it ain't no skunk. It's
maybe that was north end zone during the game.
Yeah, it smells like them California trees being burned out there. That's what that is. Gruden didn't know that. That end zone, that tunnel, it wasn't a creature on the ground. It just happened to be something.
Carr got a contact high in the second half.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing at the guy in the middle anymore.
Snoop Dogg was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
there
I
you
get
go,
it.
Jenna. There you go. Bring it on home. Go ahead, Jenna. Get it out.
I thought maybe because they stunk,
we'll
they
get to
played
Dak
like
and the Cowboys in a second.
They played like bad.
But first,
all right, here we
Georgia
go.
High School
I
football.
got this. Let me get back on my corner here. Georgia High School football, Augusta Preps. This is Bailey Adams comes down with an amazing catch.
Oh man, this reminds me of the time. Hold this for a second. See?
Yeah.
Antonio Freeman made you hold that L. Monday Night Football.
Got worse throughout the show.
Oh man.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of, Nick?
What? What?
Oh, you didn't play no football. Get out of here with that mess, doofus.
As soon as I said it,
Great play.
Good
Nice play. Good stuff, guys. Lower Cape May Regional High School here in New Jersey. Patrick Moore has the kick blocked. Don't matter. Breaks a ton of tackles. Gets in the end zone anyway.
Oh, I'm no kicker. I'm an athlete. He trucks about 3 guys here at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at number 77. He didn't work too hard. I'm done for the day.
The linemen are watching this as observers, but then they get a
Look at
little
my man.
burst
1,
of energy.
2 guys. He missed 3, 4.
It's a great
Trucks
play
them
by
2
him.
guys right there.
And then the linemen get their energy to go celebrate. They're like, oh, we scored.
I need a snack.
Great.
Finally, Ocean Springs High School, Mississippi. Isaac Gowdy with the interception off a teammate's
Kick
foot.
saving a beauty.
Let's go with the hand deflection off the back of
The foot.
the cleats into the hand. You can't duplicate that.
No.
You got to have a Tim Tebow. Look at number 15, the quarterback. Look at him. That looks like Tim Tebow there with the Jets.
Absolutely
A little high.
right. A little high, a little late. It hit 3 separate defenders, ends up with an interception.
All right, moving on. Dak Prescott threw for just 170 yards on Sunday in a loss to the Panthers. Not the way the Cowboys wanted to start the season, especially they got the New York Giants coming up on Sunday, a little divisional rivalry there. Dak will shoulder the load again to help his team avoid going 0-2. But Jerry Jones is still super high in his quarterback, saying Dak is somewhere between Jared Goff and Cam Newton. Nick, you scoff. What do you make of Jones' assessment?
I mean, he's somewhere between them geographically, because one plays on the West Coast, one plays on the East Coast. Dak's in the middle of the country. Aside from that, I don't see it. Here's the thing. Cam is the most consistently reliable rushing quarterback we've ever seen. I know Vic was more electric, and Steve Young was a much better thrower as a guy who could run the football. But nobody has ever been the team's consistent leading rusher, leading touchdown scorer as a quarterback like Cam Newton has.
And there's no physically gifted athlete size, speed, mentality like Cam Newton. So what other position you say, well, there's never been a guy like him? Cam Newton's the only one at quarterback that had that type of physique.
And I mean, do you know how many quarterbacks in this league have had more than 45 yards rushing in a game? Dak's not on that list. Cam had 59 in the first quarter of week 1. Like, so when you're saying between Goff and Cam, you're saying Cam because you're trying to, LeVar Ball, speak it into existence. Let's hope Dak can become a better runner, because what we've seen over the last half season from him is mediocre at best passing. 7 of his last 9 games, he's been under 200 yards passing. Compare that to Jared Goff, the other guy Jerry mentioned, who he probably mentioned because Goff had played the most recent football game, the late Monday night game. He's talking Tuesday. He's like, I remember Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, in his last 17 games, 14 of them, he's been over 200 yards passing. Like, I don't see the comparison. I'm sure they would love to have that in Dallas, but that's not what they've had over the last couple of years.
And I'll give him this. I'll give a man who's run a team for a long time. He's a billionaire, so a lot of times people think if the billion's next to your name, that means brains. Not necessarily. Even Jared Goff, right now at this point in his career, you know what turned his career around?
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay. Where's the Sean McVay, Jerry? Because if you're going to make some comments like that, because if you ask me who's the Sean McVay in Dak's life, I'll tell you it's Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Because when Zeke played well and they dominated, that's when Dak looked at his best. So this is Jerry again with his off comments as far as evaluating his personnel. He wants Dak to look good. But let me tell you something. Dak is playing for his career. Is he a franchise quarterback? Because Jerry's going to have to make that determination in the next several months before next year deciding if he's going to give him a big contract.
Dak Prescott doesn't have a bigger cheerleader than Jerry Jones. He has gone out of his way multiple times to say, this is our guy. He's really, really great. Mm-hmm. But there was something else he said yesterday, or rather after the game. He said, discussing his wide receivers, they did get separation. We just didn't get the ball to them. So obviously
that's an intriguing comment.
Yeah, so now he is placing a little blame on Dak Prescott.
Because he doesn't have the investment in these wide receivers. None of them are high draft picks. None of them are making a lot of money. If there's anyone to throw under the bus, it'd be the wide receivers.
Yeah.
But if you're one of those wide receivers and the owner says that, and then the media comes to you and says this week in the locker room,
that's what's going to happen.
Right?
They're going to ask them. Jerry Jones said you guys were open in the film. Now the wide receivers, they don't even have the experience to say it's a team effort. It's not a matter of was I open, we didn't win the game, we didn't make enough plays. They got to keep saying we. They're going to have to try to be able to cover it up, because if the film shows, and then the reporter should be able to look at some tape to be able to see, and I watched part of that game in the delays.
Right.
Why? Because it was the game of the week.
Right, of course.
So I was watching it, and I didn't see the type of separation that Jerry saw, but Jerry, he evaluated everyone on the front line, and I don't believe all those evaluations were the game that I saw.
But the point is, whether it's an accurate evaluation or not, media is going to go to these receivers and say, the owner said you guys were open. So what happened? And unintentionally, he's setting them up to throw Dak under the bus here. Like, that's obviously, like you mentioned, he loves Dak. It's not his intention. But what matters is this now. You got the Giants this week. Both teams come into this game 0-1. We know 90% of teams in this league start off 0-2, don't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We also know that the Giants look vulnerable. The Giants' offense was not good in the first week of the season. Mm-hmm. If you don't win this football game, and if Dak continues on this 175 yards a game trajectory, you got real questions about who the hell this guy is. Who your quarterback is. Is he the guy we saw his rookie year, or the guy that everyone thought he was coming out of Mississippi State, a multi-year project, probable backup?
And be careful in the matchup against Eli Manning. If he does not play well, we would be able to say, you know something? He's the worst quarterback in this division.
No Doubt.
We got Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. Eli, at the end of his career, if he's better than Dak, and then Alex Smith, he's not better than Alex Smith in Washington. So forget about Jared Goff and Cam Newton combination. He better be trying to be better than the quarterbacks in his division if the Cowboys are going to be able to make the playoffs.
What's good for the Cowboys this week is, unlike Carolina, where at least I thought Zeke was going to have a real hard time getting off, I think against the Giants, I think Zeke could have one of those 140-plus yard games to where the pressure is off Dak. But if the quarterback has to have the running back go for 140, then he's not that good of a quarterback.
Yeah, right. And, you can't do that for the rest of the season.
One of the things you have to watch in the Dallas game Sunday night, watch our boy Snacks Harrison going against the backup center.
Yeah.
I don't think Zeke going to be able to get, because Snacks going to be having some snacks. Maybe.